It's your boy, the Incredible Man. Yes, I'm back at it again. And I just watched 911 Season 3, Episode 3, and it was absolutely wonderful. It was a nice conclusion to everything that happened over the first two episodes. So it was a nice, good wrap up, and I enjoyed it. A little heart-wrenching at first because I swear at certain moments, man, Fox really played with my emotions, but they settled it at the end, and I was okay with it, man. So let's get right into this episode. It picked up right after last week's episode where we had lost Christopher, and Buck was searching for Christopher this episode, and he was losing his mind, man. Like, he didn't care about his well-being or anything else, but at the same time, you could tell that, like, once a firefighter, always a firefighter, because also in the pursuit of looking for Christopher, other people were hurt and trapped, and he helped them. Although, granted, in his mind, he was hoping it was Christopher, but he also helped them none the same. So I get that, and I like that. That shows great character development for Buck, because this whole episode, he was running rampant looking for Christopher, man. He could have easily, I'm not worried about any of these guys. I'm worried about Christopher, and he didn't do that, man. He still helped these people that needed help, and that was good. That was wonderful seeing that on camera. A lot of stuff happened this episode, though. We also had Athena in her cop uniform this time, and she's going out on patrol looking for looters. And we had Bobby and everyone else from the 118 going out and still continuing doing rescue. And we also had Maddie, I can't think of her name, Maddie, still showing up being who she is and what she does constantly. I mean, because Maddie's a 911 operator, but she's a 911 operator that goes well and beyond a typical 911 operator. Maddie is what not every 911 operator should be, because then people would be at their job, but what some 911 operators should be, because Maddie goes above and beyond, and that makes her a great 911 operator. So let's get right into it, man. For some reason, this week's episode, we started at a different kind of, we kind of started a couple of hours before the tsunami actually hit, because we saw this couple that they were kind of having like a tiff about maybe like a separation or a divorce type thing, and they wanted to go to the Ferris wheel where they first met and had a wonderful time to sign the papers. And they get up there, and boom, the tsunami starts to hit. And one thing that stood out to me in that whole moment was the product placement. Dude was taking a picture of a tsunami, and like, even when you're holding a photo like that, you hold both ends of the phone just to hold it, and your fingers kind of cropping out, stuff like that. But he held it with one hand, and just so they can show the Apple product on the back of the phone. Yeah, that's product placement for you. But yeah, man, it was good. Then they got hurt, and then we jumped right back into the present timeline. And out of this whole episode, I'm going to admit, I'm starting to think that Ronda Rousey's going to be a series regular now, because even at the end of this episode, we saw her, looks like she's working with the 118, helping them. I think she joined the 118 now. Is that possible, though? Why would she leave her? I guess because her captain got hurt. There's a lot of stuff that happened this episode. So we see Eddie and Ronda Rousey's character. I can't remember her name. Anyway, we see her and Eddie, and they are making their way. Well, she's already up there, and they're making their way, and Eddie's helping her save some other victims on the Ferris wheel. And long story short, they saved one guy. This one guy, that was wrapped around the pole. He was so annoying. Dude, let go of the pole, man. Let's focus on some other stuff so we can save other people, and you're wrapped around the pole. I don't want to. No, I'm not letting it go. So they saved him, and it was just so annoying. But they saved him, and then they saved the guy that fell because he hit his head, and he was semi-paralyzed a little bit. So there was a lot of stuff going on with that. But we had Eddie constantly looking, not Eddie, but we had Buck constantly looking for Christopher this episode, man. He was going crazy he was looking for any clue he could take, and people were giving out different clues. But the funny thing is, we seen Christopher from the get-go, which is crazy, man. When we got to see Athena giving orders to some of the other cops about looters and everything, The lady that was holding the kid with the red hoodie on, that was Christopher. That was lovely. It was very, very nice. But that was Christopher, and like we never knew it. There was no indication that that was Christopher, and I liked the way that they revealed that in the end. But this whole episode, we saw Buck pretty much being tormented because he couldn't find Christopher, and that was weighing so heavy on him. He was injured as well, and probably had more exhaustion than anything, but he wasn't worried about any of that. He was so focused on finding Christopher. Then we also find what else did we get? Oh, we got to see Hen and Bobby and everyone save some other kids and people from CO2 poisoning. No, not CO2, carbon monoxide poisoning, and the whole building like just filled up with carbon monoxide, and then there was a bomb on the outside. So like, dude, every time this whole episode, it was a nice wrap up in all in all. But dude, every time you came to a problem in this episode, there was a bunch of problems. Then we have Ronda Rousey's captain, which is Captain Cooper, I think. He had Athena cut his arm off. Man, there was so much. Dude, his arm had got lodged under a car, and dude, that's so weird from him being exactly down by the pier where Buck was to wherever he was in a residential area to being trapped under the car. And dude was like, I already belted it off hours ago. It's gone. And the bone's broken and everything. You just cut the soft tissue. Just go ahead. Okay, that's boss status, man. Go ahead and cut it. And then they gave you the sound effects of her cutting it with the squishing. It was so dude, it was boss, man. Then we also come in contact with two idiots. It's a good thing what they were doing, but like they didn't have all their marbles. They were saving pets from people's houses to later reunite them with them because of a natural disaster that they left their home and they didn't take their pets. So that was nice for them to do that, but it was like, yeah, we called ourselves the Raiders of the Lost Bark. No, y'all need a better name. Then we also have Eddie tending to Ronda Rousey because she had a couple broken ribs and she didn't want to get treatment. She was so worried about our captain. Eddie showed up this episode. Let's be real. Eddie showed up this episode. Eddie was on it, man. He saved a little kid from drowning. He saved Ronda Rousey. He saved a couple people on the Ferris wheel. Eddie was on it. And then we get to my favorite moment. And that is when we're at the hospital and we have Buck calling Maddie. Well, Maddie, I tried everything I did. I saved him. I had him. I had him. He was right there with me. But I lost Christopher. Well, Buck, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Well, Buck, you don't sound okay. I'm coming. And he was trying to avoid Eddie because he did not want to have that conversation about losing Christopher and he's possibly dead. So then all of a sudden, Eddie comes out and he bumps into Eddie by accident. And he was like, he didn't know what to say, man. He was fumbling and bumbling over all of his words. He was like, Eddie, I'm sorry. It's Christopher. And Eddie was like, well, why do you have his glasses? I had him, Eddie. I had him. And then I thought Fox was going to do me so wrong because this whole episode, I felt like Christopher was gone. I mean, I didn't feel like they were going to kill him off because, like, he's not such a major important character, but he's super important to Buck and Eddie. So I felt like they weren't going to kill him off, but Fox kills people off on 911. So, I mean, they killed like this other dude last week. He was just a guest star. They killed him like it was nothing. I mean, I know he's a guest, but still. So then we find out, and Eddie was Buck is just continually going on talking to Eddie, and then Eddie just looks at him and was like, Christopher? And the lady had him in her arms the whole time. The lady, he was in the red hoodie. So we actually saw him earlier in the episode. I was so happy that it happened like that. And that was nice. I didn't expect it to happen the way that it happened. But then we also have them going back and forth. And the lady was like, are you Buck? He was looking for Buck. And then Buck just kind of collapsed because he could finally rest because Christopher was safe. And it was a nice wrap up, man. I enjoyed every single moment of it. And then we get to the end and Eddie brings Christopher back over there because Christopher wanted to hang with Buck again. And Eddie told him, there's no one else that I trust with my kid besides you because you saved him. You kept him safe during a tsunami. And Buck was trying to give out all these excuses because he lost him and he couldn't find him. But he was like, but you saved him when it mattered. It was a natural disaster. What could you do? But I loved it at the end. He was like, well, next time, could you like take him to the zoo? keep him inland. So I enjoyed the whole episode, man, but it was a nice wrap up, man. This is your boy Dick Incredible. Don't forget to smash that like button until you can't smash it anymore. Comment down below and I'll be sure to respond to each and every one of them, and subscribe, but only if you really want to, man. Peace out.